Viewers, for the last few days, Rahul Gandhi, the Congress President, has been on an overdrive. On every possible occasion, the Congress President has been saying that the Supreme Court has recently ruled that the Chowkidar is a chor. Now, I will play out just one of his many recent chor swipes he has taken at the Prime Minister Narendra Modi for your reference. Listen very closely as he emphatically links the Supreme Court's recent order to Mr. Modi's culpability in the Rafale matter. Listen to this, viewers.
सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने ऐतिहासिक निर्णय लिया। सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा कि हिंदुस्तान का चौकीदार, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा कि हिंदुस्तान का चौकीदार, ये देखो क्या कमाल हुआ। शर्म नहीं है इस व्यक्ति में। सुप्रीम कोर्ट कहता है कि नरेंद्र मोदी जी जो देश के चौकीदार बने हैं वो चोर हैं।
Now viewers, that was on April 11th. That was just the latest instance when Rahul Gandhi began to link the Supreme Court's order to what he believed was Prime Minister's culpability in the Rafale matter. Quite naturally, the BJP accused Rahul Gandhi of spreading fake news and took him to court, filing a contempt case last week. Today, much to the BJP's delight, the Supreme Court expressed regret at Rahul incorrectly attributing words to the bench it has never imputed in its ruling. Worryingly for Rahul, the top court has given the Congress scion till Monday to explain his Chowkidar chor remark in the context of the Supreme Court's most recent order. Now, this is a polite way of the Supreme Court saying that Rahul Gandhi may be in danger of committing contempt of court, which is a jailable offence. Here is what the Supreme Court has said. No remark made against Prime Minister Modi by this particular court. It also goes on to say that the remark was incorrectly attributed to the apex court and the verdict is only on the admissibility of documents. Now, for the record, viewers, the Supreme Court is upset because it believes that Rahul has allegedly deliberately misrepresented its order to lead the public of India to accuse the Chowkidar of chori. Now, here are some hard facts. This is what the Supreme Court, viewers, has ruled. It has said that leaked papers are admissible in the hearing. That's what it has come out and said. But what Rahul Gandhi said was that the Supreme Court says that Chowkidar is a chor. And why is it contempt, says the Bharatiya Janata Party? Because the Supreme Court is yet to rule on the relevance of the documents it has admitted, and there is no question of the Supreme Court's order imputing that Modi is guilty. After the Supreme Court sought an explanation from Rahul Gandhi, the Bharatiya Janata Party lambasted Rahul Gandhi. Listen to this.
The Congress President with brazen immunity is without any basis accusing the Prime Minister of being a chor, of malpractice, of financial impropriety. He just doesn't care for any of them. He can't digest the fact that Ministry of Defence can function without middlemen.
There is a new law in campaign of falsehood by Mr. Rahul Gandhi. He had been showering abuses, falsehood against the popular Prime Minister, a beacon of honesty. But now he is taking liberties even with constitutional bodies and orders of the court.
The implication straight away in the minds of people is that all that statement which Rahul Gandhi has been making in the name of Supreme Court were wrong. That's the first implication. And he has to explain as to how and why he was doing so.
The question then arises is whether Rahul Gandhi is relying on jhoot or lies, sans sabut or proof as a strategy in 2019 Now let's attempt a fact check. Viewers, I want you to look very closely at these hard facts that I'm putting out for you. Now, in the judge-lawyer death case, the Congress's charge was that death was unnatural. Amit Shah is guilty of a cover-up. But what's the fact check? In essence, the Supreme Court dismissed the charges as false and said that the probe plea is motivated. Now, all of this, viewers, all of this was used before election campaigns, especially the judge-lawyer death issue. Then there is the question of the EVM issue. And what was the Congress's charge? That EVM machines are being tampered by the Bharatiya Janata Party, manipulated, hacked. A fact check is easy to do. The EC held that EVMs cannot be tampered with. The SC or the Supreme Court has pushed for VVPAT verification. Then on the GST, the Congress says GST has been a disaster, hurting small and medium scale sector and producing a dampening effect on our industry. The fact check is that rupees 1.06 trillion record GST collections in tax in just March of 2019. On the Nirav and Malia cases, the Congress charges ND allowed those who looted banks to escape from India. The fact check is that UK court has ordered Malia's extradition, Lalit Modi trial to begin. Both might be actually within the next year or so bound on a plane back to this country. Now this raises several questions and I want to throw this open this evening, viewers, to our panel. And I want to begin by asking some basic questions. Sanjay Hegde, let me begin with you. You've just heard me and you've heard the Supreme Court in its own words, or what it has said. You've read what we've quoted has been put out by us. Now I want to ask you, has Rahul Gandhi relied on lies, jhoot, without any proof as an election strategy to target Prime Minister Modi and his opponent, the Bharatiya Janata Party? Mr. Hegde.
Listen, I don't appear for Rahul Gandhi, nor do I also have some limitations in speaking in this matter, because I have appeared in the Rafale matter for Sanjay Singh. With these two caveats, let me put it what the Supreme Court order today was. The Supreme Court order basically makes clear that it did not in anywhere in its judgment say Chowkidar chor hai. The Supreme Court also makes it clear that if anybody has to comment on its orders, please reproduce whatever the Supreme Court has said. Do not add or do not detract from that. Therefore, stick to the letter of the judgment. The third thing that I would take away from the order is that the Supreme Court has asked for an explanation at this stage from Rahul Gandhi. Thereafter, after looking at the explanation, it may or it may not take further steps, whether to issue notice, whether to frame charges in contempt. So, to jump ahead of the gun and say that this fellow is going to jail or this fellow is going to be punished by the Supreme Court is again to fall into the same trap that the Supreme Court has warned other people against. Please stick to the letter of whatever the Supreme Court says. You may draw some inferences, but do not draw outlandish inferences.
Okay. I want to come back to the question, legally speaking, Mr. Hegde. Legally speaking, do you believe that Rahul Gandhi has incorrectly attributed to the court remarks that it never made?
Of course, the Supreme Court never said Chowkidar chor hai. Is there any question on that?
Okay. So, Ghanshyam Tiwari, let me ask you. Chowkidar chor hai. Chowkidar chor hai, says Rahul Gandhi. Supreme Court has said ki Chowkidar chor hai. Now, this only goes on to prove what the Bharatiya Janata Party has been saying in the context of the Rafale matter, that Rahul Gandhi misrepresents to score cheap, in their words, political points and mislead the public against the Prime Minister's personage. And his remarks are defamatory and not substantiated by proof. Is Rahul relying on jhoot and scoot in his political campaign, Mr. Tiwari?
Well, short answer is I don't know. And part of the answer is that on the matter of Rafale, when has the government told the truth? So, chor hai nahi hai, the Chowkidar chor hai campaign emerged much before the Supreme Court cases and the verdicts. But the fact is that ever since the Rafale case opened up, this government has been seen hiding, lying and misleading. And whenever you put them to task, ask them the right question, they would say in interviews that हमें तो Supreme Court ने clean chit दे दी है. In a case where they did not say that, they said that CAG report has said something, there was no CAG report, and there was a review that was happening. In a case where they said they wanted to hide behind Official Secret Act to disallow an evidence that was already in public domain, an evidence that they have not logically or factually said anything about. So clearly, the more this government is going to hide, the more truth is going to come out, because this truth is not coming out through political parties.
Very specific context we are debating in, sir.
Now the French media has come out about...
Mr. Tiwari, the context is very specific. It's about whether the Chowkidar is a chor and whether Rahul Gandhi is actually spinning this phrase constantly and innumerable times to create this impression, and therefore libelously targeting the Prime Minister, maligning his image. That's the question I asked you. You went off into the merits of the Rafale case.
So, this is a two-sided question, Rahul. The other side of this question is whether the Prime Minister is Chowkidar. The other side of the question is whether the Prime Minister is Chowkidar. क्या हमारे देश का प्रधानमंत्री है या चौकीदार है? So when you go into the metaphors and phrases of politics, the campaign slogans of politics, all the campaign slogans of Achhe Din, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Hara Virus emerge from this whole spectrum. So the political discourse in our country has happened in these phrases. If you want to connect phrases to facts, then you have to wait for verdict of Supreme Court to come out. But these phrases,
which Rahul Gandhi doesn't want to do
in political discourse.
Why don't you come out and admit that Rahul Gandhi doesn't want to wait for any verdict from the Supreme Court, or even if he does? What?
I have said that these campaigns have predated the Supreme Court cases.
Okay.
Second, the BJP has
that doesn't make
to these
them right.
campaigns by Main Bhi Chowkidar campaign, where the entire set of cabinet
let me ask Mr. GVR Narasimha Rao,
which is really
GVR Narasimha Rao, you've heard Mr. Tiwari. He says you're hiding, lying and misleading, and therefore this government has never told the truth on Rafale, and in some sense of the term, therefore, since some of these phrases were spun much before this SC order, they stand as legitimate, because you can't also suggest that the Prime Minister is a Chowkidar. That is also, according to him, a spin.
No, look at the background of the people who have made these comments. There is a charge of tax chori against Rahul Gandhi. He is somebody who is out on bail. There are income tax notices slapped on him which he has not been paying up. He is a tax defaulter. And
alleged.
And Akhilesh Yadav is facing charges of corruption in mining. So these are the people who are being accused of doing chori. And there is not a single charge against the Prime Minister in any court of this country. And in this particular case, Sanjay Hegde, who represented Sanjay, is saying, your petition has been thrown out of the window. The court said it has no merit. You talked about the same charges that Rahul Gandhi has been trumpeting.
You are wrong there.
You
the
talked
petition
about,
is still alive.
you talked about, let me have my say. Rahul, let me complete my stay. Your petition has been dismissed because the court said
your allegations have no merit.
Please show me an order.
And the so-called favoritism
Rao,
shown to
show me an
one
order
party,
showing that the petition
the
has
court
been
held
dismissed.
in its judgment. The
Rahul-
court held. I think Rahul, this is not
Rahul,
fair.
I need
I
a
must be
rejoinder
allowed to
right
complete
now.
my
Yeah,
statement.
let him
I think
let
I
him
have not
finish.
spoken when
Then you
this-
can
No, ask
rebut.
him to keep quiet.
Mr. Hegde, you can rebut. Let him
not
finish.
Lie. Just keep away.
Yeah, can I?
No, let him not lie. And let him keep away from the
Just
from
let
my
me complete
case.
my statement.
I will allow you
No,
in
let
full
him not
measure,
make it
sir,
personal.
to rebut
I'm
him.
not lying. I'm
Let him
saying
finish.
what the-
Let him finish.
No, let him not
You
make
went
it
to the
personal.
court. No, Rahul.
I don't know what he is saying, sir. He's
No,
brought
I'm
it up.
saying
You
you
brought
are
up
the-
some Sanjay Singh case.
you-
He is saying that
what
it's
is
been
personal
dismissed.
about it?
I will ask
What is
you
personal
to
about it?
respond
Rahul,
to him
can
in
I-
It has not
substance.
been
1 minute. Let him
dismissed.
finish.
That is exactly the point.
Yes, so
it
you
has
can.
not been dismissed.
Okay,
It
Mr.
has not been
Hegde, you
dismissed.
always tell me before
It
we
has
come
not
for
been
these debates,
dismissed.
allow me to have my say.
No,
now
no,
let him
so-
have his say. You can rebut him. I'm telling you, you can rebut him. Let him at
Okay.
least finish. Then you'll know what to rebut. If you don't let him speak, then you won't know what to rebut.
So
Yeah.
tell him not to get personal.
The petition filed by, so can I, no, there is nothing personal about it. You are the lawyer, you were the advocate for Sanjay Singh who filed the petition, and the court found no merit in your petition. They dismissed your petition. Is that a lie? Is that a lie? Is that a lie? Are you blaming the, so say this is it's a lie? Has the Supreme Court not
the review
dismissed your
petition
petition?
has not been dismissed.
Have they not said your petition is
The Sup-
dismissed? There is
the
no merit
original
in your
petition
allegations.
was
Did the
dismissed.
court say it
Everybody's
or no?
petition
I
was
want you to
dismissed,
commit
but the
contempt of
review
court.
petition is
I
still
want you
alive.
to commit contempt of court. Sanjay Hegde, take up.
Mr.
No,
Narasimha Rao,
your original PIL.
Mr. Narasimha Rao,
your
please
PIL
control
has
your
been
blood
dismissed.
pressure.
Is that a
please
fact?
control
or
your
you
blood
also
pressure
want
for
to-
once.
You also want to give a.
The review
you also
petition is
want to
alive.
commit contempt of court.
The
Please
review
tell me that.
petition is alive, as is the
No, that's
petition
okay,
of
but
Prashant
your
Bhushan.
original petition.
And
No, 1
has
minute.
been
the review
dismissed.
petition is
One
alive.
second, let me
Same
come in here.
charges that Rahul Gandhi. I think.
Okay, 1 second. Let me
Rahul-
just come in here. Sanjay Hegde, I want to ask
Rahul,
you a
this
question
is-
and you need
I
to be
think
very
look at-
categoric, sir, on this.
No,
There
let
were-
me
1
complete,
minute,
Rahul.
1 minute.
This is not
Yes.
fair.
Mr. 1 second, Mr. Rao, 1 second. Let me ask Sanjay Hegde
No, I will
counter
not let him
question.
speak. I will not let him speak. I will not let him speak. You can ask him a question. I will also intervene.
I want to.
You must allow me to complete.
I want to clarify on a point, sir. Can you give me 30 seconds, Mr. Rao?
Okay.
Just give me 30 seconds. I just want to clarify on
two
a
more
point.
lines. You must allow me to complete. Otherwise, I will not let him
I
speak.
want to clarify on a point
will
and
not
you
let
can
him speak.
complete. But allow me to clarify the point. 1 minute. Now, I want to understand from you, Mr. Hegde, a
Yes.
quick question. There were 2 review petitions filed, one by Sanjay Singh and one by the trio. The trio's review petition
Yes.
is still alive. What about Sanjay Singh's? Simple, straightforward question.
On Sanjay Singh's petition has not yet been formally dismissed. All that a court that they told me was that they would not listen to me because of what Sanjay Singh said. Thereafter, they have not passed any formal orders of dismissal.
Okay,
Both
so it hasn't been-
petitions are alive.
So it
At
hasn't been accepted.
At this stage, no, it has not been dismissed.
Has it been
not
accepted?
Been dismissed. Those petitions are alive. If the Supreme Court so chooses,
Sir, I am
can
quoting
allow me
6th
to argue.
March
If the Supreme Court
2019, the
chooses,
Tribune India.
It may say that we will not hear anybody
Okay,
for Sanjay Singh.
I am quoting March 6, 2019, Supreme
There is no
Court.
formal order.
So allow me. Supreme Court refuses to hear AAP MP Sanjay Singh's Rafale review petition. I'll read it out to you. Supreme Court on Wednesday refused to hear the petition filed by AAP leader and Sanjay Singh MP seeking review of its December 2018 verdict, declining to order a probe into the Rafale fighter jet deal. A 3-judge bench headed by Chief Justice of India,
Have you finished?
Ranjan Gogoi, said that the statement made by Singh on its verdict was very derogatory. The CJI said the top court would take action against him after completing the hearing on the review petitions. So the review petitions that they are talking about are by the trio.
Now can I answer?
But yours, sir,
Can I answer?
have not been heard. Yes.
I am saying, please go ahead and look at
Will
the
not be
record
heard.
of the Supreme Court.
Okay.
Please go and show me an order which says that the petition is dismissed.
Okay.
That order is not there.
Okay,
All
but-
that has happened, several things happen in a court hearing.
Yeah, but they
this
haven't-
is the mistake that you
But
people
would you
make
agree that they've
even the
refused to hear
politicians
your
make.
petition,
Just
your
one minute.
client's
Now that
petition?
you've asked me. No, let me complete now. No, so therefore, the petition has not been dismissed, and you are committing the same error that
Has
you are
it been
accusing
heard?
Rahul Gandhi of. Please
Sir, I'm
do
only
not
asking
put
you a
words
question.
in the mouth of the Supreme Court.
I'm only
this
asking
is the
you a
problem.
question.
You have to go by the records.
Sanjay Hegde, I'm only asking you a question and I'm giving
No,
you
no,
all the
you-
opportunity to
you-
clarify. I'm
What
only asking you,
No, you
has the Supreme Court, is the
so
Tribune, is the
exactly.
Tribune headline right? Has the Supreme
So-
Court refused to hear your petition? Simple. Yes, no. Yes, no.
Of course, it has refused to
Okay.
hear me
Okay.
at that stage.
Okay, but it's not been
has not
dismissed.
dismissed the petition.
Okay, it's not
That
been
is the
dismissed, but it hasn't
so
been
you
heard.
Don't
Okay.
don't ever attribute anything to the Supreme Court which is not there in an order. Unless you can show an order, don't say anything about the Supreme
Okay,
Court.
so
That
it
is
hasn't,
exactly
it
what the
hasn't been
Supreme Court has
dismissed, but
told
it hasn't
Rahul
been
Gandhi also
heard.
today.
It hasn't been heard, viewers. We have been able to buttonhole the issue down to a technicality. It has not been heard, but it has not been dismissed. Okay, Mr. Rao, let's continue. These are important because this
It
is
is not
legal.
No.
Rahul, that's exactly what the Supreme Court has told Rahul Gandhi today.
No,
Do
the
not
Supreme
put words
Court,
in
sir.
the Supreme Court's
no, the
mouth
Supreme
without the
Court has
record.
said that Rahul Gandhi has made remarks which have been incorrectly attributed to this court. This is serious.
Please read out
This is
the
very
order.
serious.
Ask your,
We also
ask
make
your
it
team
clear
to
that
bring you
this
the
court
order
had
and
no
read it out
occasion
on
to
air.
make such
Read it out on
observation
air.
in as much as it was deciding legal admissibility of certain documents
Exactly.
which were objected by the Attorney General. Having clarified the
next
matter, we
sentence.
deem it proper to ask the
Read the
respondent
next
for his
sentence.
explanation, which will be laid before us on or before 22/4/2019, that is Monday. This is serious. This is a serious attempt at incorrectly attributing to the Supreme Court things that have not been said for political gain. Sumansi Raman, the BJP has accused Rahul Gandhi of being a jhoota, of lying. What else do you want us to say?
Yeah, so Rahul Gandhi stands accused of misrepresenting what the Supreme Court said, and I agree that he should not have attributed those remarks to the Honorable Supreme Court, because the Honorable Supreme Court never said Chowkidar chor hai, and they only agreed on admitting certain documents which they will now look at. Now you have to understand that when it comes, if we are talking of contempt of court, I mean, what would you say about the government's
Listen,
act
don't be an
of
apologist, sir, for a wrong.
consistently feeding
Rahul Gandhi
issues to the Honorable Supreme Court?
misleads.
No, one second.
On Judge Loya, his party
Typographical
came out and said
errors.
very clearly that Amit Shah had blood on his hands. On the Malia issue, that he's been allowed to get away. On GST, it's a Gabbar Singh tax.
That case, we've had several debates. We've had several debates as far as the Judge Loya case is
Okay.
concerned, and we've actually gone into a deep dive of that judgment as well. I'm not going to get into that today. The point really
Naturally
is that
not.
as far as the Rafale case is concerned, there has been a significant attempt to either withhold or modify information that is presented to the Honorable Supreme Court. And there has been more than enough evidence of that, with the government itself saying that there were typographical errors and what we meant was actually something else. And then they said that this matter has already been discussed, or to the effect that it has been discussed in Parliament. So a whole lot of issues are there, and certain documents were not
Now, look at the way,
for which there is
sir,
no satisfactory
you are
explanation. So you have to
circuitously
understand,
trying
Rahul,
to.
that there has been a problem.
Oh, right. You know, I'll tell you
with
something.
the
Mr.
information
Sumansi
that
Raman,
the
had
government
this
has been
order been
providing
passed
the
against the
Honorable
Prime
Supreme
Minister, I would have liked to see how directly you would have been imputing motives. Now, I want to bring in Anand Ranganathan on this. Anand Ranganathan, I'm getting at a more,
Whether it
Okay,
is
okay.
Rahul
Sumansi
Gandhi or
Raman.
anybody else,
Right.
the law will have to take its course.
Okay.
His explanation will be given by 22nd, and
Till then,
thereafter, as
people
Mr.
can
Sanjay Hegde
falsely
said, the court may
attribute.
decide to
Till then,
pardon,
it's okay to
frame
falsely
charges or
attribute.
not to proceed. That is their
Incorrectly
call.
attribute. I'm not saying it's the Supreme Court that is saying it. Can't play fast and loose with the facts because it's credibility. And I'm asking you,
Absolutely,
Anand
I agree.
Ranganathan,
You
you're a
should
very
not have said it.
independent observer
should
of
not have said
politics,
it. There is no
is
nothing
Rahul
to-
Gandhi's
nothing to
credibility at
defend
an
there.
all-time low? Has his credibility taken a massive hit? Is he now trustworthy as an individual? He made Rafale the single most important issue of his campaign. He has pegged his entire re-election. No, 1 second. In Amethi, as well as 1 second, sir, please. And his, sir, please. And his
entire credibility, the credibility which was not. Rahul. The
Can you make this
credibility
gentleman stop,
of the
please?
Honourable Prime
The question's been
Minister
addressed to me,
continues
Dr. Sumant Raman.
across India to a sizable
You already had your
extent,
say.
despite many statements not having been
Dr.
backed
Raman?
up by fact or
Oh,
by
so
data.
credibility has nothing to
So
do
one
with
statement
factuality.
of
Okay,
Rahul
sir,
Gandhi,
you
which is
see,
wrong.
look at
There
how
is
morally
nothing to
elastic
defend
you
as
are.
far as what
Morally
Rahul
elastic.
Gandhi
I
has
want to come out
It
to
is incorrect.
Anand Ranganathan.
But I
Okay,
don't
okay,
think
Suman
that
C. Raman, 1 second. Anand Ranganathan, yes. Anand Ranganathan.
Yeah, thanks. Now,
Credibility crisis.
Sumant Raman, can you please? Yeah. Yeah, I heard your question. Yeah, thanks very much, Rahul, for having. I've been waiting. I'm the last person on the panel to speak now, so I would request the fellow panelists to give me the courtesy of at least a minute. You talked about credibility of Rahul Gandhi. To be frank, it is lower than the water table of Gurgaon right now. I mean, the man has been lying on an industrial scale. It's not MSM scale. It's not cottage industry. Every day there is half a dozen lies through Twitter, through social media, through newspapers. It's just phenomenal. And no one, hardly anyone in the media points it out. Well, you've done a few, but let me just list 3. One, he's been saying that the Prime Minister offered 15 lakhs into every account. That's complete lie. He never said that. He's been saying that Mr. Modi said he's promised 2 crore jobs. That's a complete lie. He never said that. And thirdly, the funny thing is, he's been saying Chowkidar chor hai, Chowkidar chor, Prime Minister. Prime Minister has never filed a case against him. But here, interestingly, the Supreme Court has, because the Supreme Court is the one that Rahul Gandhi has lied for. So, when he says, so he's attributing something to the Supreme Court, and that is a cognizable offense. I don't agree with the criminal part of the defamation. But, maybe a civil defamation would have been more appropriate. But the fact of the matter, he's been caught lying blatantly. And he said it. You just played the video. The point is, he's also lied, on Anil Ambani, excuse me, saying that the fellow has pocketed 30,000 crores. That's a complete lie. No one in the media except Times Now, and I think you, have pointed out that only 850 crores are going to Anil Ambani, 72 offsets. And he's just part of one. He's one of the 72 offsets. HAL is one of them. So all these lies come day in, day out. No one points them out. And I'm afraid many on the panelists also, care not to point it out. The fact of the matter is that, you talked about credibility. I'm sorry. It is non-existent. And this time, he's been caught on video, caught on tape. So he can't say that the media has attributed it. You just played in the first minute. You played what he said exactly. That the Supreme Court has called Narendra Modi a chor, a Chowkidar is chor. So he has to apologize, I think, and maybe the Supreme Court, in his, his wisdom, would probably let him off. But the fact of the matter is, he's been lying and attributing motives to Narendra Modi for 5 years now. Narendra Modi hasn't put a case on him or filed a defamation. It is the Supreme Court that is lied against, that now he is in trouble. So his credibility is lower than the water table of Gurgaon.
Okay, Sanjay Hegde.
Yes, if I can put the situation correct, Rahul Gandhi would do well to say Supreme Court ने ये नहीं कहा है कि चौकीदार चोर है, Supreme Court ने ये भी नहीं कहा है कि चौकीदार चोर नहीं.
It's too late for that. It's too late for that. Thank you, sir. But Ghanshyam Tiwari, I'm asking you, credibility crisis. Rahul Gandhi leading. No, reeling from a credibility crisis, Mr. Tiwari.
Rahul, if you look at the Supreme Court verdicts, and we have a learned lawyer in Sanjay Hegde on the panel, he can say.
I'm talking
that
about
when
the
Supreme Court
credibility crisis,
came up with a
sir.
verdict on
Rahul Gandhi
privacy.
misleading this country,
Yes,
even on
yes.
the 15 lakh promise?
Let me respond in 2 sentences. When the Supreme Court came out with the verdict on privacy or Aadhaar, this government came out in the press and said we won. Now you ask Sanjay Hegde ji, or you ask Mr.
don't run
Ranganathan
here and there.
that did the government win in privacy or Aadhaar? They quoted Supreme Court and said we won. So there are political parties who will interpret Supreme Court verdicts in their ways, and it is for the Supreme Court to take it up, not take it up. As far as the 15 lakh promise or the 2 crore jobs promise, this is blowing up in the face of Bharatiya Janata Party. Let Prime Minister come and say that I did not mean to bring Kala Dhan, I did not mean to bring Kala Dhan and give it to or share the benefit of it with the citizens. I did not mean to create jobs. This government lies on black money, it lies on jobs. That is why I am saying that if you're talking about credibility, the lack of credibility of this government
and you are also
is
from Harvard,
at an all-time high.
Sorry, don't do that.
Don't do that. Anand Ranganathan, you see, let me tell you.
No, I'm not defending, I'm making
that there are individuals who've done a
No,
fact check on this 15 lakh promise.
No.
And let me tell you, this is what the Prime Minister has said.
Yes.
And it is not true that he promised 15 lakh jobs. He's only ever mentioned this once. And this is what he says. The whole world says that all the crooks in India deposit their money in banks abroad. Black money is hoarded in banks abroad. My brothers and sisters of Kanked, and he refers to a constituency where he was campaigning. He said, tell me, this stolen money should come back or not? This black money should come back or not? Shall we take back every penny hoarded by these crooks? Doesn't the public have a right over this money? Should this money not be utilized for the benefit of the public? If even once the money hoarded by these crooks in banks abroad, even if we bring only that back, every poor Indian would get free of cost rupees 15 to 20 lakhs just like that. There's so much money. That's what he's always said. And people have said that.
So there you go.
No, he said that people would get if you were to bring it back.
About?
He never said in your account, and he never said, sir, and he never said that I will put it in your account. This has been a very clever way of connecting two dots and using it to besmirch the reputation of the Prime Minister. Sir, do you want me to play out? I can play out, sir, the soundbite for you. It's clear as day. He's never said, I will put 15 lakhs in anyone's account. Now, please understand this. Viewers, there's a distinction. There's a credibility crisis today.
Are we going to cover the lies of
It's fair enough, sir. It's fair enough. It's okay. So don't change the goalposts. We are talking about three very important promises that you suggest that the Prime Minister has not delivered on. You need to come out and tell us where. The onus is on you, the opposition. Where did he say in so many words that he's going to put money into anyone's bank accounts? You know that's a fabrication. Anyhow. The question here is not about the Prime Minister, it's about the credibility of Rahul Gandhi. And I want to bring in once again Suman C. Raman. Suman C. Raman.
One quick point. Yeah, Rahul, I heard that clip many times.
Credibility.
And I agree with you that he did not say
you agree with me?
Deposit 15 lakhs in the account. But he very clearly said that the amount of money that would be recovered by his government would equal the amount of 15 lakhs for every Indian. He did say that. He
did say that, but he never said I'll put it in your bank accounts. He never said, and you're right.
Did say that.
You're right. He never said he'll put it in our bank accounts.
Why not?
So this is not a promise. No, one second. There are two issues here. The issue of bringing back black money is different from bringing it back and then compensating each and every Indian. Two very different issues. The credibility crisis Rahul Gandhi is suffering from, viewers, right now, the Supreme Court no less. Okay, gentlemen, 1 second. It's the Supreme Court that has come out, viewers, and said that remarks have been incorrectly attributed to this court by Rahul Gandhi. So Rahul Gandhi is trying desperately to substantiate his Chowkidar chor hai comment, and he is even going to the extent of mangling what the Supreme Court has said. Only the redoubtable Ghanshyam Tiwari right now is supporting Rahul Gandhi by constantly changing the goalposts. But the fact is, and I want to go back once again on the credibility question, is Rahul Gandhi's credibility today at an all-time low, Ghanshyam Tiwari? I'm giving you a last opportunity to correct your line on this show.
Well, Rahul, I believe that it is for people to decide that the time for narrative for opposition and government is over. Now this is election time. The first phase is over. People have decided. It is not about I count for one vote. It is for people to decide that did the promises of the Prime Minister hold any water and did the charges of opposition hold any water?
Okay. Well, you haven't given me a straightforward response. You've dodged the question. You've left it once again to the wisdom of the people. Well, the people's wisdom is being clouded over by a bombardment. Yes, Anand Ranganathan wants to wrap this up. Very quickly, you have the last word. You got to speak last, so you can have the last word. And I want to move on.
Thank you. I was just going to say that, there are two kinds of people in a democracy. One who respect the judiciary and the other who think they are the judiciary. Till today, Rahul Gandhi was thinking he is the judiciary. Supreme Court has put him in the dock, and the chicken has come home to roost. So, it is very telling that Anil Ambani has sued Rahul Gandhi to the tune of 5 to 10,000 crores. But Mr. Narendra Modi hasn't bothered to. But when you say things against the Supreme Court, that's a very serious matter. You cannot attribute, as Mr. Hegde said, you can attribute anything to Narendra Modi. He's a politician, and he's also lied. But the point is, you cannot put words into the mouths of the Honorable Supreme Court. And he's just done that.
Well,
he's been caught on the video. You've shown the video. And he has no choice but to apologize or come straight or face criminal defamation.
Okay, well. It's all coming back to haunt Rahul Gandhi. Better be very, very careful about what he says. He has to be very careful about what he says. Politics is not a party. It's not a party. An election certainly is not about demagoguery. It's about democracy. Let's hope that both sides respect that line, because today, viewers, and I want to move on, it was